Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today I wanted to review and discuss Under the Never Sky by Veronica Rossi. This book. Oh goodness. Alright, so first I want to do a review and then I'll do the discussion half. You know, you get the drill, you've seen this before. And then, you know, if you haven't read it, then don't watch the discussion because I'll spoil it. The review half. First, let me tell you what it's about. It's about Aria and Perry, and they live in this world where there are these storms called Aether storms. Aether? Storms. Anyways, these storms are like bolts of, not bolts, but it's kind of like a lightning storm, except for the Aether is just pure energy coming down from the sky, and it can wipe out whole villages. And it's not like lightning where it spreads, like it starts a fire and it spreads. It just, if it lands, everything disintegrates. When the Aether storms first started happening, the scientists started making these shelters called pods, and they were places where people could go for shelter and live there while the storms are going on, so they're not out in the open. The book is dual point of view, so there's point of view of Aria and Perry, who is the other main character, and he lives outside of the pods. He lives in the they don't really have a name for it, but they call them like savages. This book was a pleasant surprise. I didn't think that I was going to like it so much, and it was such a surprise because I went into it thinking, okay, it's the young adult, I'm gonna like it, you know. But I came out of it thinking, wow, that was a great story, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 out of 5 on Goodreads, and I recommend this book. I think people should read it. There's 3 books in the series, so this is obviously the first one. The second one is called Through the Evernight, and then the third one is called Still Blue. And I'm not sure if the third one is out yet, but if it's not, it's coming out pretty soon. I really like this. I recommend it. If you haven't picked it up yet, you should. It's got romance in it, and it's got dystopian in it, it's got adventure in it, and yeah, I really recommend it. I really like the characters, I love the world building, I loved everything about it. It was just a big surprise. I really enjoyed it. So if you haven't checked it out, please do. And if you haven't checked it out, then I recommend you don't watch the second half because I am now going into the discussion part of this video. So if you haven't read the book, go read it, then come back and participate in the discussion or agree or disagree with me or whatever you want to do. You know, if you just want to like watch the video or whatever. But if you haven't read this book, then I thank you for watching, and I hope you go pick it up. I hope you read it and enjoy it and love it as much as I did. Come back. Alright. Hey guys, alright, so if you stayed, obviously. Alright, let's just get right into it. I wrote a few things down, so let's talk about those things. Let's say. First things first. I didn't think I was gonna like the dual point of view. I don't typically like dual point of view just because I feel like it takes away from the story. It's hard for me to invest in a character or a story if I can't connect with a character, and it's hard to do that when you're always switching point of views. But for this book, I feel like if it wasn't dual point of view, you would lose so much of the story. I don't know, I think it's because the characters come from two different, so different. There's 2 different places, and then they come together, that if you didn't know the background for both places, it would have just not made the story right. I don't know. I think that the author wrote this really well. She knew what she was doing, so props to that. I also loved Perry. I loved him more than I loved Aria. I just loved how self-sacrificing he was. I loved how protective he was. Next. One thing that I was a little confused about was that I didn't understand why they brought Aria back from AG6. I didn't understand why they brought her back just to cast her off again, because to me it would make more sense to just leave her. The more I read, the more I thought, well, maybe it was because someone found her that wasn't Council Hess, and so he had her brought back, and then he did it without anybody knowing. So I think that was what was going on, but I'm not sure. I don't know, that kind of just bothered me that they didn't answer that. I'm just weird. Oh, I also loved the writing. I love the writing of this book. I loved how involved it got you. Like, even when she was describing things, it was like you felt like you were there. Like you felt the rocks in your hands, and I feel like she described everything so well where it wasn't like overdone or it was kind of boring, you know, and descriptions can get overdone and they're just a little bit boring. It was more like you were smelling the roses and feeling the rocks and feeling the eighth year and all this stuff. I felt like it was, the senses were me actually being involved in the story, and I think that's such a cool way of writing that it just surprised me. I also loved how she developed the world. It wasn't like she dumped a whole bunch of information on you. It was like as the characters were developed, you understood the world with them. So like you weren't having to sit there and read all these pages about, you know, why this was doing this or why that was doing that. It was kind of like as the time went on, you just were involved, like you were just a part of the story, you know? Some authors can do that really well and it can work for your story, and sometimes it can't, but this one, it worked. The last thing I wanted to talk about was the romance in the book. I really liked it. I find in a lot of dystopian novels, it's like these characters kind of jump around and like get to know each other, then all of a sudden they're making out and they're in love. And this one wasn't like that. It was like they got to know each other and they kind of felt each other out. Obviously Perry knew what Arya was thinking through her through her temper, but I don't know. I just felt like it built really well, and I love how the romance continued throughout the book. Well, at the end of the book, but you know. I really like this book. It was such a surprise for me. And I knew I was going to like it, but I didn't think I was going to like it that much, and I don't know. I kind of did know that her mom was dead. I felt like that was pretty given. I mean, I felt like she was being kind of naive about it, but other than that, I don't really have anything to complain about in this story. I really liked it. So 5 out of 5 on Goodreads, and a lot happens in just these little amount of pages. I also wanted to say how substantial this paperback is. I've never felt a paperback that I loved holding so much. Like the pages are heavy, so, and the spine isn't. I don't know, they just like flap like a little bird. Like, I don't know, I really like that. That's it for my discussion. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you next time. And if you have anything to contribute, just go ahead and comment down below, and I will get back to you, I promise. Bye guys. I'm so awkward. That was quick. Alright.